ask y'all this question, and I got an idea. Vince Russo is trying to stay relevant, and that's understandable. He's trying to stay a relevant person. Here's the question I have to ask you. And I'll ask Jack this question. Vince Russo said he stays in contact with the people at USA Network. Do you believe that he stays in contact with the people at the USA Network?
I believe that he calls and leaves a message every week.
That's right.
I don't believe that anybody is returning those calls, however.
Yes, I agree.
All right.
I agree. I would figure he was a subscriber. He has it on his cable package. He still has cable, by the way.
Eric Bischoff, Ric Flair in a feud again. Over Ric Flair saying that he was the one that helped win the ratings war for for that 36 weeks, 26 weeks, 56
86. It's 86 weeks or whatever.
86 weeks or whatever it was.
Yes.
Jack, did Ric Flair? Eric says no, but Rick says he did. Did Ric Flair help?
Do y'all remember the stuff that Flair was doing during that particular time period?
No.
No, nobody else does either, Rick. So I would have to give that a big thumbs down.
I think I would too. The only thing I remember is when he got fired, and that's the only thing I remember. Him getting fired and coming back. But that was what's in that way after they had already winning.
Oh yeah. He was already canned. And remember, he had to take off because his son was going to wrestle somewhere. Remember, same thing that they kicked Ole Anderson out of the Four Horsemen for. Remember, he had to go and watch his son wrestle. And so he got kicked out. He got fired for missing a shot. And then he comes out, and then he does, I think, one of the first crying on television. Of course, this is simply that it's in wrestling is normal for today's wrestling. And I think Flair set the trend. Of course, he set a lot of other trends, too, as doing the same spot in every match. Also, so much contributions to today's product.
Does Ric Flair do a weekly podcast now? I know he done what.
Yeah, I don't think it's weekly anymore.
Okay, so because I know he's doing it with his son-in-law, I believe is his name.
Yeah,
whatever that guy's name is. He is saying a lot of things that basically is being. Well, no, that's not true, Rick. I'm sorry. Do you think he remembers it this way?
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, one of the things I have found through the wrestling industry is if you tell a lie long enough, you yourself believe it.
It's going to be amazing, Brett, and you're going to find this to be. I mean, right now, Ric Flair is claiming that he created Mr. Wrestling 2. It is. It is amazing. He said he come up to Olivia and he said, I was noticing his her husband sitting on the couch there while she was working, just going and doing some errands. And he noticed that he did a little trip. And when he tripped, he did that little twitch. And he said, you know what? I can see things with this guy here. And he said, guess what? Tim Woods is such a big deal over in the Carolinas. Let's make a Mr. Wrestling #2. And Olivia jumped right to making his outfit. And next thing you know, Ric Flair has created Mr. Wrestling #2. So amazing situation.
Flair talks the worst gimmick he ever did was the Black Scorpion. And when he really didn't ever do the gimmick, he was just there at the end. Yep. What the crap is he talking about? He didn't do the gimmick. He was just in it at the end.
He was hoping to be at the end of it, because if he wasn't, that means he would have spent the next 6 months doing what he's been doing. Because it was never supposed to be him, because we're the ones that come up with it.
And then everybody, to Jim Ross, to Ric Flair, and everybody say, "Oh, that was a disaster," when it garnered the biggest ratings WCW had up to that point. Oh, come on, folks, come on. Was it stupid? Yes, I saw when they started doing the magic tricks and all that. Okay, I grant you, it was a little hokey, it was a little stupid, but hey. What was WWE doing at the time? So,
well, if you watch any of the comments are right opposite. You'll have the Flair sycophants out there with his sayings. But if you read down through that, that is totally different. Absolutely. Totally different comments. They said most people say that the Black Scorpion put Sting through the ringer, made his life hell through that summer. And they said they had to tune in every week to see what else he's going to do. And that's the comments that I see up underneath there. There are some, like I said, there's some Flair sycophants up underneath there that's watch the video and, you know, what Flair says, oh, the great one has spoken. Oh, woo! As he's drunk and he's running up the airplane with no clothes on.
Doing the helicopter. Hey, Jack, anything going on in the world of professional wrestling that I just didn't come up with there?
You know, I have been following the news lately, and there's absolutely nothing I'm interested in retelling.
So some people took my Ric Flair story of creating wrestling too. It's not the sarcasm that it was intended for, I have to say. And it was sarcasm because Flair has claimed so many things in recent weeks that were not true. So why not? He's also created wrestling too. Why not?
You know, I gotta say some other stuff here. And I had a friend this week, and we asked this, and he told me, because I said something about WWE, and I said, do you know that WWE trends on Google quite often? And they do. I also said that you know, people look at their YouTube channel, and he said, well, they've got 92 million subscribers. He said, yeah, but the weekly views are only 110 million. That means they're only watching about a minute a piece if you take that into account. But I told him, I said, yeah, but they still ain't that, but like 10%. If it's 92 million people, they're still about, and I think that's the way it usually is on YouTube. About 10% of the people are going to watch it. So basically that means the 92 million people, they're not all watching that. And I did notice that some of their views, and if it had John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin, or somebody like that, it did have high views. But if it had anybody from NXT, it was very bad.
Yeah.
Very bad numbers.
Well, that was the question that I was asking before we went on the air. Would you classify anyone at NXT a superstar?
Oh man, I'm still crying over old Mandy Rose.
Well, I understand, but would you say that anybody is an NXT superstar?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna say
except
no.
for Mandy. Except for Mandy, of course. Well, one of the NXT superstars had a WWE tattoo put on his chest. I say that man is a moron.
Well, what if when he gets to WWE, what is he going to do? When he gets to Raw?
Well, it's still the WWE. It's just when he ends up being unemployed, he'll be at AEW, and then he'll have to wear tape. He'll have to wear a shirt.
Tony,
I guess he could do like Goldust did, you know, when he had Marlena's picture tattooed on his leg, and then they split up, and he got a big red symbol just to go over the top of it.
That would be great. That would be great. Yes.
Tony Khan.
Yes.
His major decisions this week, it could have been last week, is he purchased the rights to some song. What did he do? Why in the world does that matter? For goodness sakes.
Yes.
Oh.
That's not the first one. You know, he purchased Mandy Rose's song. Not Mandy Rose. Ruby Soho's.
Oh, okay.
Ruby Soho's music. And then the Orange Cassidy music that he was famous for coming out to in the independents.
Yes.
But anyway, he purchased that so that he could now come out after, 3 years of coming out to the same entrance music.
Yes.
Now we're going back to music nobody ever heard before.
Yes.
For him, I mean, it was a popular song, well known, but still.
Well, I have to admit, Bischoff made a comment. And of course, I hate to agree with Mr. Bischoff all the time, and here lately I have been. But he's come to the point that he believes AEW is a vanity project, and I'm agreeing with him.
I will
absolutely
have 100% agree.
That is a vanity project.
Nielsen, is that how you say that? Nielsen ratings?
Nielsen, yeah.
How you say that? They have come up with a 2016 to 2021. They hadn't added 2022 to it. WWE's declined. From 2016 to now, WWE has declined 42% in their viewers. Now, other places have also declined. They're not the only people who have declined. The National Hockey League has declined. The NFL, on the other hand, has went up in about 2% when you take all the NFL games and put them together. Now, if you just do one at a time, no. But if you put them together, they have
well, NFL was on a downswing, but they're coming back up. So
yeah. So there you go. I don't know if you look at it was kind of, I could have shared that, but it was kind of depressing. If you see you can see it go and it just keeps on going down. It starts here and it just keeps on going right down. If it keeps on going the route it's going, in the next 2 years, nobody's going to be watching the show. And I don't know what to say, because other things are coming up. The NFL is coming up. The NBA is coming up. It was coming up every year instead of going down. But WWE continuously goes down, and we know AEW is never going to last. So they'll be out of business here in 2024 when they don't have a contract renewed.
Well, we know that will be the last day. Will be when the main event is MJF against Tony Khan, and that will be
or Enzo. Enzo says that he was a better interviewer, better promo, as they say.
I will absolutely have to give him that edge too.
Yeah,
because he could do a promo without cussing or flipping somebody off.
What talent?
He didn't go for the cheap heat. He was very imaginative in things that he said. So yeah,
I don't know. I never saw him, but he got upset with MJF. MJF is I'm sorry. I think he's a talented man, but somebody's giving him the wrong direction. I think he could do well, but I think he's been given the wrong direction. I think he believes that there's a certain way a heel should be, and somebody's telling them something completely wrong. I don't know who it is, but somebody's telling them. Anything else, Rodney, going on in the world of professional wrestling?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned it. Yes. Speaking of the MJF, he is their champion, right? He is the AEW. Is that the world heavyweight champion? He is. He's the top, and at the top title there, or are there other titles there that might be more important?
Yeah,
so maybe the women's title is more important.
To be the top.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
So he's taking digs now at people who do not work in the company.
Mm-hmm.
This man is an idiot. Okay, I'm not sure.
It's always where he sells tickets, right?
That's right. So now he's knocking AJ Styles. Why is he knocking AJ Styles? He's not ever going to work with him. He's in another company. Why? He's also now knocking Roman Reigns, another one he's never going to work with. Okay, he's never going to work with him. So why in the world is he talking about? He's their champion, and he's talking about the other product. Why in the world I cannot, for the life of me, think why that is valuable. Why that has any value whatsoever? Can anybody explain why it is that the champion is talking about the other people in the other company? Can anybody give me a good reason why that makes sense?
Because he hopes to get there one day. He don't want to work for the minor leagues.
Well, you know what they say about hoping. You can
in professional wrestling. Hey, I'm drinking water today.
All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, tonight Brent is drinking water.
You got the whiskey.
Thank you.
Who knows? Who knows? No,
Mark Merrow. Oh, by the way, Road Dogg, who I do believe has taken one too many chair shots to the head, has now decided that he is now praising AJ Styles, who MJF knocked last week for whatever reason. He's now praising and saying that he is a better wrestler than Bret Hart. Yes, I know you would find that. Did you almost choke?
I almost choked on my water. What in the world is he saying? AJ Styles, I think, is a decent wrestler, but he's no Bret Hart. Bret Hart was when he called himself excellence and execution, what he did never looked contrived. Never looked contrived. Everything he did looked like it was fluid. He didn't stop and do the bend down for you to give the big old. I don't understand this, folks.
What is the deal? What is the deal with Brian? What is the deal with Brian and Bret Hart?
He must not like him, must he?
I simply don't get it.
Hey, I think
did they even work at the same time? I'm not sure they did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Was he not the WWE heavyweight champion at the time?
Yeah.
Here's the problem. You know what it was? He was making that $2 or $3 million a year, while Road Dogg was making $200,000 or $300,000 a year. So he was a little mad, a little upset.
I still don't get it.
Jealousy. There might be a little jealousy when it comes to Bret the Hitman Hart. Plus, I think he showed up whenever he wanted to as well. So I think there's probably a little right there. Bret Hart didn't have to show up.
He might need to explain himself. What is the beef with Bret Hart? Simply, he needs to explain himself, because that just, for whatever reason, every time it turns around, he's running his mouth about Bret Hart. Maybe he wants his autograph. I don't know. It seems like every time he turns around, he's talking about Bret Hart.
He wants Bret Hart to talk about him so he can be as popular as Bret Hart.
Well, a lot of the podcasts like that are, they say things because they know it's going to bring ratings. Whereas with Cornette, his tirades are what you pay to listen to.
True.
And if you want to go by that, he didn't like anybody.